Hello, welcome everybody. I'm going to show you how to record in Zoom. Now, it might feel like it's a little bit difficult to start, but it's actually very, very easy. So follow these tips and you'll be able to be a pro in recording in Zoom. Now, in terms of your PowerPoint or your deck of cards, you can use PowerPoint, you can use Prezi, you can use Canva, you can use anything, like you can even use Word if you wanted to. PowerPoint's pretty easy to develop some really nice kind of pretty slides. You can see here I'm using a branded Torrance University slide. It's just really clean. I have used white font, however, the only time you use white font is if it's big, it's large, it's bold, easy to see. Typically, we use white backgrounds and you use colours. I'm going to show you a couple of things, but I'm going to show you how to record in Zoom. First thing I must say is you must use a camera. You're going to lose 20 marks automatically out of your grade if you don't have a camera. This is a presentation of you presenting. I want you to imagine you are presenting to an audience. So you're up on a little stage or at a dinner, you're presenting this topic to a group. So you wouldn't stand behind a curtain and talk with the audio, would you? Because you're going to be out in front of the group and you're talking and you're engaging with that group. You're looking at people, you are speaking, and hopefully you're not sort of standing there sort of reading directly from the notes, because we don't want you to doing that either. It's okay if you want to read a little bit, but it's about you speaking to your audience. So you need to know your topic a little bit, but we are going to recommend that you do, that you basically, what I want you to do, I want you to do a bit of a script. So have some ideas written, so you don't need to submit your script, all right? So that's really important that you just prepare it with some bullet points. You've got your headings, do some practice runs. But Zoom's really easy to use. It automatically has a camera for you as long as your computer has a camera and it's working. If your computer camera is not working, I suggest that you reach out to a fellow friend, a student, someone who has a camera on their computer that you can use. You don't need to set it up like you're actually got an audience, okay? So you're just going to be talking to the camera. So, you know, throughout COVID, we've had to present directly to a camera in many online environments, and I know many of you are familiar with using different platforms, but Zoom is very, very simple to use. It is a free account because we're not going over 45 minutes, so it's a free account. You can pause it. And the thing I also like is in the top left-hand corner, when you're in this, you can see how long it's going for. So if you pause it, you can stop it when you actually pause it as well. So you're not going to go over your time, because if you go over that 6 minute 60 mark, marking stop. So you might be doing a brilliant presentation, but if you go over time, marking stops. And already I'm up to 3 minutes 55. So I need to shuffle along. All right. Don't worry about that slide. Okay. Set up a Zoom account. It's free. Host a session. Click on the video, and I'm going to show you how this works. I've done some little screenshots to sort of give you an idea of how it works. There's no extension if your computer crashes, because you need to have done it. So practice. So, you know, start getting your slides together, or your deck of slides together. So check that you've got a bit of an introduction. It's hello and welcome. My name is, and today I'm going to be presenting on, and tell us, who are you presenting to? So tell us about the group that you're presenting to. Is it new mums? Is it people at the local fitness centre? Is it a group of high school students who'd like to, you're going in there to talk to the high school about some nutrition topics, etc. So whatever it is, tell us who and who you're presenting to. So who you are, who you're presenting to, tell us about the topic, give us a bit of an outline. What are we going to be talking about today? So go through those key points. Remember that a conclusion slide can be just really a summary. You don't really need a conclusion slide, but as long as you've got a bit of a summary at the end, I like to have a conclusion slide, key points, take-home messages, and then your reference page. Obviously, you don't need to read your references. Remember that you're not required to include anything you have researched. You just need to be selective about everything that you're going to tell us. So think about, you can be more succinct with your voice. Don't put everything on the slide. So, you know, sometimes you get students that put so much text on the slide. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. There's just too much information. So keep it really clean and simple. So avoid busy. So busy slides, and you can also, we've got a little laser point here, avoid busy slides. So that's just down the left-hand corner if you're in Zoom. Avoid busy slides, lots and lots of small text sentences and too many images on a slide. The slide needs to be clear, concise. Presentation should expand or highlight what's on the slide. All right, remember, you need to reference, cite text when you've got a vision, like a figure, or even if it's a photograph of yours, you still need to reference where it's come from. So look at the APA referencing tool, which explains how to reference images and figures, and also tables. So tables is the same as what you've actually done. You know, you've done, but just remember that when you reference the slides, it's abbreviated. So it's a little bit different, and there is some guidelines on this in your APA, your referencing guide and your referencing tool. It has it shows you how to reference slides, because you don't have to do the big long reference. It's actually a lot shorter that you can do. So have a bit of a look at that. All right, use your camera. I'm going to say it again. You must have a camera. I've had many questions about this already. All right, so you set up a free Zoom account. The next slide you're going to get, you log in. So you set up your own Zoom account, you log in, and it comes up. This is how mine comes up, okay? So this is your first page you're going to get. And it comes up, and you'll see in that top sort of right-hand corner, it says host. So you're going to click on host, and you're going to click on with video. All right, so click on that. And now what happens is the next screen you'll see, it takes you to it. So you then go join with audio computer. So you click on that. You could also test your speaker and your microphone, making sure it's all right. I know mine works, so that's fine. You click on that, and you can see this is what it sort of looks like in the background. And then what happens is your next slide is going to come up with this. Now, this doesn't sort of come up, because this sort of comes down the bottom of the screen. Sometimes it'll pop up the top here as well. There's the record button, but before you press record, what I'd like you to do, or you can press record, but here is share screen. So when you click on share screen, it gives you the options to which screen I want to share, because I had a few screens open. But if you go share screen first, then I'm going to show you what happens next. And I'm going to then the record little buttons might be sort of, all the function buttons might pop up the top. Now, if they disappear, just move your cursor around and then they'll reappear. And you're sort of going, I still can't find the record button. Relax. If you find the three little dots, it'll sort of have three little dots. And I'm going to just, what they might draw like, they might be just three little black dots, or not black, like sort of like black, three little black dots. It's not very accurate, but you can imagine these are three dots. All right, you click on that and it'll say more, and that will mean there's a drop down box and it'll say record as one of your options. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty easy. So just, as I said, play around with this. All right, now, so we're going to do the share screen. So I've clicked on share screen. The next slide I'm going to see is, it's going to look like this. And I'm going to go, okay, which screen do I want? All right, I've got a few in there. All right, I'm going to click this one here, or whichever of those. Just play around with it. Okay, that looks like it might be it. So I click on that, and then it might come up looking like that and go, well, have I shared my screen? So what you need to make sure is, if you're in PowerPoint, you need to actually do a slideshow, because at the moment it might just be showing this one kind of screen that kind of looks a bit like that, and you're like, oh, that doesn't look right. It says I'm sharing my screen, but I'm not sure what I'm doing. So make sure you click slideshow. Then what will happen is it will look like this, the slideshow. Now, what you're seeing here is, this is what your screen will look like. Then you'll also see your second screen. So this is your next slide, which is pretty cool, isn't it? So that's your next slide. So when you're talking here, you can go, oh, I know what's coming up next. I know that, you know, I'm talking about my presentation, then I'm doing, okay, I know that I'm going to talk about the overview next. So you can kind of lead into it. Now, at the top left-hand corner, as I said, you'll see a timer. It's clicking over. So if I want to pause that, I can press pause. I can also pause the video. So the same thing is you go to that top of that screen, you kind of move it around a little bit. And then what happens is, and you can't see what mine comes up with, but there's like stop video, security, participants, chat, news share. If I want to do a news share, pause the share. I could also go, remember more. If I click on more, that's where the recording is. I could pause the recording here. So let's say, oh my gosh, I've lost something. I had a bit of notes here for my next slide. I don't want to record again. Just press pause. You can come back to it. But remember, it's the more, and above the more is 3 little dots. And above those little, if you click on that, it goes pause recording, stop recording. It's a drop-down menu, reactions, and there's other ones. You can also go end, and you can end the meeting for all, etc. Okay, so it's really, really simple. And then when you've finished, you can make sure you stop it. So you've got to stop the share. You can pause the share, you can stop the share. Like when we talk about the share, it's like we're sharing the slides. We can also stop the recording. Now, once I stop the recording, then you've got to get out of it. And once I've gotten out of it, make sure you've ended the slideshow, it'll convert it. And it converts it, just takes about 20 seconds to convert the file to an MP4 file. And that's what you load up into Blackboard, all right? So it kind of will go, it comes up usually on your C drive as under Zoom, and it'll be recording. And you can rename it, remember to put your name into the recording when you rename it, as in like, so you save it with your name. That's what's good. And I always do a couple of versions. So always with assignments, do more than one version. So if anything happens, you've always got backup versions. All right. Zoom is really easy. Just play around with it. You don't have to record. You can just be using some of these tools just to see how it works. But it is very simple. It gives you, it's great because it gives you a time at the top. You know how long you've been speaking for. You think, oh my gosh, I've got to learn to go a little bit faster. So I would definitely recommend using Zoom. It is much easier than PowerPoint and it looks so much more professional. All right, a couple of other things. I've already been going through some other people's previous slides. This was, I said, this is one we looked at before. This person was presenting to a new mothers group. So it's really nicely laid out. It's got a figure in there. It's got a reference. It's also got, this is her presentation outline. And she was presenting to new mums, etc. And here was, she went on to talk about iodine as one of her chosen macronutrients, and really nicely referenced, etc. It's clean, it's easy to understand. She's chosen to use white font, but as you can see at the top, it's really easy to read. Yeah, it's nice. It's you know, it was a good quality slide. So I just wanted to give you some examples of what some students have used in the past. Another student has put together this one. Again, this needs to be referenced with the images. I've just blanked out a reference here. That was a reference underneath here. The student has got some other information. Again, you can kind of target this where you want. This student developed their own images from Canva. Again, probably should be referenced there as well. This is another one that actually has reference. I've just blanked out the reference that was on there as well. So it's just really nicely done. And then finally we had one that was for iron. Again, that would actually, both of those would need to be referenced. So good luck with filming Zoom. It is really simple. It's a great tool to have, and especially, you know, in business and in life, we use Zoom a lot now, especially since COVID. It's very simple technology to use. You just need to play around with it, and hopefully some of these tips will help you. Good luck.